Let's be honest, most of purchasing a house today can be done by you, alone, without an agent. There are companies that will give you codes for a self-guided tour. The entire MLS inventory, with the exception of coming soon listings, is available on third-party sites online. You can find access to most of the homes that I have access to. The difference is, do you have the experience and the knowledge to negotiate the contract when it comes time? Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Ashley, and I'm a DFW real estate expert, and today we're going to talk about contract strategy and negotiations when purchasing a home. Now, every state's different, but did you know that in Texas, we're a very buyer-friendly state? And that means that there's over 30 ways for you as a buyer to get out of your contract. You need to know what those ways are, and if you don't know what those ways are, I would recommend that you work with an agent who does know what they are. First things first, we've got to know what market we're in. If you don't know what kind of market you're in, then you don't know what type of offer to write. Does it need to be aggressive, or can you maybe work it over a little bit? Right now, are you in a buyer's market or a seller's market? If there is more than 6 months of inventory on the market, then you're in a buyer's market. If there's less than 6 months of inventory in the market, then you're in a seller's market. If it is 6 months exactly, then you're in what we call a balanced market. Now, we're just coming out of a very aggressive seller's market, and COVID caused a boom unlike anything that we've ever seen before. And what that means is that houses were going on the market and then disappearing the very next day. This is a seller's market to the extreme. This is not normal. So if you're selling today and you bought during that boom, please know that your experience today is going to be very, very different. Now, I don't know about your market, but where I'm at, it feels really slow and it feels like a buyer's market, but it's not. Technically, we are still here in DFW in a seller's market. So understanding your market and the nuances of what's happening around you is critical when it comes time to write your offer. So assuming you've already seen the house and fallen in love with it and you're ready to write an offer, the very first thing that you need to ask for from your agent is a list of recent comparable sales. What you're gonna do with this list is you're gonna decide, is the home worth what the listing agent and the seller have listed it for? Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. The listing price is nothing more than an agent and the seller's best guess as to what the home will be received at. So sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong, but it is nothing more than a marketing tool and our very best guess at how the market will receive a home. The recent comparable sales report that your agent will give you is going to be a list of active, currently under contract, and recently sold homes in your immediate area. This is very, very similar to what an appraiser will use when it comes time for the appraisal for the lender. However, it is not a valuation of the property. As agents, we are not allowed to give a valuation. However, we're going to give you all the information that we have access to so that you can make the very best decision for your family moving forward, with the hopes, of course, that when it comes time for the appraisal, that the list price and the contract price will match up with the appraisal price. Use this report and review it in detail. Compare the condition of the home that you're in love with against the recently sold homes and the currently available homes, and decide what the right price is for you to offer on the property. After reviewing the report, if the number that you decide to offer is in line with the list price, go for it. If you're in a slow market, you may even be able to negotiate down just a little bit from that. If you're in a highly competitive and aggressive market, probably not. Your agent is going to be the best resource for helping guide you to let you know how aggressive you need to be on the offer price itself. A really good way to think about this is if your agent calls you tomorrow and says, "I'm so sorry, we lost the house." At what price do you say, "That's okay, I wouldn't have paid $1 more"? And conversely, if the agent calls you tomorrow and says, "Congratulations, you got it," at what price are you not thinking, "I think we overpaid. We probably overpaid. The only reason we got the house is because we overpaid. How do we get out of this?" So somewhere in that sweet spot is going to be the number that you should offer for the house. And maybe that is exactly what the list price is. And maybe it's not. I caution you though, that if it's not where the list price is, and you're in a competitive market, the seller may not receive that information very well. You might have to wait a little bit before you deliver that offer to them if you want them to accept it. So now you've decided on your offer price. That's it, right? Send it over. Wrong. There's so many different components within your offer that can make you more or less competitive. Don't miss out on the opportunity to structure a highly competitive offer by using some of your other contingencies. What are they? Let's dive into them. Some of the most common ones in Texas are going to be your option fee, your option period, your earnest money, who's paying for title, when is your closing date, what's your financing contingency look like, are you offering a seller leaseback? These are just a few of the many ways that we use the contract to our buyer's advantage. One way that you may not think about to get creative with your contract is the closing date. Now everybody just thinks, well, I'll just close when I close. Whenever the lender has my money, that's when we'll get it done. Yes, and what if your seller needs that money a little earlier because they need to use that money to close on their next home? What if you have the flexibility to stay in your home a little bit longer? Well, that means that you can offer the seller a really fast closing date, pending lender approval, of course, and then you can allow the seller to stay in their home a little bit longer so that they have the time to take that money, purchase their next home, and then pack up and leave. So they're not homeless. And that's called a seller leaseback. And a seller leaseback is the #1 way that we see in this market to get a little bit more aggressive without it actually costing you much money. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't cost you any money because as soon as ownership transfers, you're going to be responsible for taxes and HOA if one's available. But from a mortgage perspective, if you close in the month of March, your first payment isn't due until the 1st of May. So you have a little bit of time in there where you're not going to be making that payment. And if you can use that time without becoming homeless yourself to allow the seller to stay in their home and give them that flexibility, they really appreciate it. It makes their life a whole lot easier. Another way to make your contract more attractive to a seller is to offer what's called an appraisal waiver. This one's risky. Now in Texas, we have 3 different ways on our promulgated forms that we can offer an appraisal waiver. Option number 1 is the full waiver. Yikes. This means that no matter what it appraises for, you as a buyer are committing to move forward. If the appraiser says that it's worth $200,000 less than what you told somebody you were going to pay for it, you're buying it anyways. Be very, very careful checking this box because if you check this box, you don't have a lot of recourse. Option number 2, a partial waiver. This is possibly the most used method. And the reason being is people are willing to pay just a little bit over the appraised value. Maybe it comes in $5,000 low, you're still willing to move forward, or $10,000. You and your agent can work through what that looks like. And option number 3 in Texas, it must appraise for a floor of X amount in order for you to move forward. So this option is used a lot of times when there's a large down payment. Option number 3 is designed to protect the buyer. Option 1 and 2 are designed in the seller's interest. There's a situation where each of these could be seen as appropriate. Definitely talk to your agent about it before moving forward. Buying a house is going to feel like a very emotional decision, but it shouldn't be. When you're in the middle of negotiations, this is the time to take your emotional hat off and put on your rational hat. You need to understand what your walkaway point is, and you need to know that before going into the negotiations. And please don't hate me for saying this, but there will always be another house. And if this house is not the one for you, there will be another one and you will fall in love with it and it will work out. Please don't go into negotiations without having that upper limit in mind because you'll end up overpaying for something and regretting it later. Once you're under contract, your next stage of negotiation is the repairs. You're going to use the results of your inspection to negotiate repairs. But let's be realistic here. The seller wants to sell and the buyer wants to buy, but neither party wants to drag this out. Now, these next few words are definitely going to upset a few people out there, but it needs to be said. Please don't send over a list of repairs 2 pages long. Please send over only the things that you are willing to terminate your contract over, because anything less is just wasting each other's time. The seller's gonna say no, you're gonna get upset. Ultimately, if you're not willing to terminate over those things, you're gonna resubmit. Seller's gonna say yes, and we're gonna move forward. Don't waste each other's time. Only submit the things that you're willing to terminate over. You hired your agent because you trust them and to be the calm in the middle of your storm. So don't communicate directly with the other party. There should never be a moment where buyer and seller are communicating with one another. Always go through your agent for every level of negotiation. Frankly, there should never be an opportunity for an agent and the other party to communicate. Agents are together to get this deal done. We're frankly on the same team. We represent our clients and we have a fiduciary duty to our clients. But agent to agent, we are on the same team. Our goal is to get this transaction to the closing table so that the respective parties can transfer the ownership of the house. And sometimes agents, we don't act like that, and I don't know why. We are together in this mission. That's the goal. So why are we not doing this better, agents? We want to work together. Let's be better. My biggest piece of advice for negotiations: stay calm, flexible, and open to what the other party has to say. The true sign of a compromise is that neither party really feels like they won, but both parties are willing to move forward. That's the goal, right? To get to the closing table, to transfer ownership. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. It really does make a difference. My whole goal here with this channel is to make real estate a little less stressful and a little more fun. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.